The NFL schedule is out, and the Kansas City Chiefs have 6 primetime games next year. We will go into week by week, matchup by matchup, and analyze every single game. But before we do get into all of that, please be sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, as I'm going to keep you up to date on anything Kansas City Chief related that you do not want to miss out on. And without further ado, let's have some fun. Now, before we do push forward on the Kansas City Chiefs schedule, I did want to mention that the time I am shooting this video, it is an hour before the NFL schedule release, but most of the leaks already happened, and there is the whole complete schedule for the Kansas City Chiefs that has been leaked on social media. So I am crossing my fingers and I am hoping that this is the correct schedule. If not, in the next video, I will have the corrections and we'll do more in-depth analysis on the schedule moving forward. But also, I did want to mention, as I stated to kick this video off, the Kansas City Chiefs have 6 primetime games and also 2 holiday games as well. What a time it is to be a part of Chiefs Kingdom. I was just thinking back to when I was in high school and I would just pray and hope that I would just catch one game of the Kansas City Chiefs on TV because I knew they weren't going to be in a primetime slot. Now look, they are basically slotted on TV every single week. A time I never thought would happen where the Kansas City Chiefs would be the it team, contending for Super Bowls year in and year out and have the best quarterback in the league and Patrick Mahomes. This is a time I could never imagine, and it's a time definitely shouldn't be taken for granted because if you look back, those days, they were grim and they were hard to watch games, but at the end of the day, Chiefs Kingdom always found a way to support their team. So this is definitely a fun time to be a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Now, let's get right into the schedule, and we're going to kick it off with week 1. In week 1, the Kansas City Chiefs will be taking on the Detroit Lions on Banner Night. Now, this is a very interesting game, and honestly, a game a lot of media and a lot of Chiefs Kingdom did not anticipate because the Kansas City Chiefs have some very enticing games week 1. Not week 1, home games, whether it be the Cincinnati Bengals, whether it be the Buffalo Bills, your division rivals, and even a Super Bowl rematch with the Eagles, and oh yeah, Tyreek's homecoming. Now that we know that was in Germany, and now that we know the Cincinnati Bengals were going to take on the Kansas City Chiefs on New Year's Eve, we got left with the Lions. And a lot of Chiefs Kingdom doesn't seem so happy about that. But at the end of the day, I think this is going to be such a fun matchup, and it's going to be one of those, I think, surprising matchups where I do believe the Kansas City Chiefs will win, and we'll do a prediction video here later on. But just right now, how I'm looking at it, the Lions are going to be a tough matchup, and the last time Patrick Mahomes faced Jared Goff, it was that high bout where it was, 52 to 49 or 50, I think they both scored 50 points, right? 54, 51, I can't even remember, and Jared Goff walked away with a W. I expect this to be thrilling. The Lions know how to put up the points. The Kansas City Chiefs know how to put up points, of course. I think week 1's going to be one of those games where you're going to be glued to your seat and you're going to watch each quarter and wonder what happens next. I do think the Chiefs will win, but at the end of the day, it's going to be one of those games where it could be a nail-biter. Now, transitioning into week 2, we get a rematch of the AFC divisional game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Kansas City Chiefs will actually be going to Jacksonville. And this will be one of my little negative critiques because I knew it was going to happen. Something told me that the Kansas City Chiefs, we knew we were going to go to Jacksonville, but I knew it was going to be earlier in the year. And when you go to Florida in September, August range, that humidity be kicking, and they've done it before. And you see, it's still 80 degrees and you got like 80% humidity. Them boys better be whipped into shape from training camp because Jacksonville is going to be no joke. And the Jaguars, we seen it last year. They're up and coming as well. Trevor Lawrence versus Patrick Mahomes, that's going to be a fun game. I think it's a regular time slot of 4:25 Eastern. I'll have to go more in depth, but I don't even believe the Kansas City Chiefs even got any noon slots. If they did, it was very, very few. Now, let's go into week 3. They take on the Chicago Bears. And this is going to be a very fun game as well because you got an up-and-coming, promising, elusive quarterback in Justin Fields who he is hard to contain. His mobility is off the charts. The question everyone's going to be watching on him next year is, can he throw the football? Can he be a pocket passer? He's going to have to answer those questions. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be zoned in on the Kansas City Chiefs defense taking on Justin Fields, because if you can't contain him, he's had games where he's run for 200 yards on teams. Don't let that be the game. Don't let that be the game, because we're also used to the Kansas City Chiefs always have one game where they tend to not play like themselves and they end up dropping a game. Don't let that be the Chicago Bears game. But putting that aside, week 4, we may finally get the matchup that it seems we've been hoping for and anticipating for ever since Mahomes came into the league, and it is against the New York Jets, Sunday Night Football in New York. We may get that State Farm Bowl. Mahomes, Rodgers. Hey, that's why the lights are going to shine brightest in New York, and I think that's a perfect Sunday Night Football game, and it's going to be fun. There's going to be fireworks all over the field. The Jets rebuilt that offense. They have an elite defense already, and I think it's going to be a good matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. You definitely got me dialed in. But now going to week 5, the Kansas City Chiefs, they will take on the Minnesota Vikings. This is another one of those sneaky type of games as well, because Minnesota, they are a great regular season team that you should never sleep on. They know how to win games, and they're one of the most complete teams where definitely offensive-wise as well. They got Justin Jefferson. They may have Dalvin Cook. There's question marks around there. And Kirk Cousins is a very solid quarterback as well. And they also drafted the kid out of USC, Jordan Addison, to replace Adam Thielen. And they got TJ Hawkinson. That's another game you just do not sleep on. Week 5, you're going to be dialed in. It's going to be a fun AFC, NFC matchup. Former Super Bowl game when the Kansas City Chiefs got their first Lombardi. Now, this is the only part of the schedule I really don't like, is when we go into week 6 and the Broncos come into town. It's going to be a fun game. It's going to be Thursday night, and I think the Broncos are going to be much better than last year. I do think the Kansas City Chiefs will still beat them, but at the end of the day, it's going to be tough. And specifically with the stretch we're going to talk about right now, because in week 7, then they take on the LA Chargers, which we know what kind of game that is. And the LA Chargers, I believe they're the second best team in the AFC West, so that's going to be a good bout. But I think this is where it favors the Broncos this year. And now then following week, week 9, we play the Denver Broncos again. And I just don't like that. I don't like that whatsoever. That 2 out of 3 weeks you play Denver. Now, all right, Thunder want to be interrupting videos, but okay. Weather abiding, we will get through this. So, Denver will be coming in, Kansas City in week 10. Week 10, week 9, what are we even on now? Oh, we're at week 8. See, I'm messing it all up. But week 8, the Kansas City Chiefs will go in a mile high. And I just don't like that. 2 out of 3 weeks you're going to play the Broncos, because it's like, okay, that might line up for Denver to finally take a game against the Kansas City Chiefs, which I believe the Kansas City Chiefs have beaten the Broncos out of the last 6 or 7 years. So the fact that it's that close, and even though the Kansas City Chiefs have beaten the Broncos defense plays very, very well against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's just that they never had a really good offense or guys that put up points to outscore the Chiefs. Now they have Sean Payton hopefully remodeling that Denver Broncos offense. You don't know what could happen. And that's what could be scary when you're playing a team 2 out of 3 weeks. So that's the part of the schedule I don't like. And then the next part is after week 8, going into week 9, the Kansas City Chiefs will go to Germany and take on the Miami Dolphins. We talked a little bit about this game last night. I know Chiefs Kingdom is a little bit indifferent about this game because they wanted that Tyreek Hill homecoming, but now it's in Germany. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be fun. Heavyweight AFC bout, and definitely if Tua is healthy, you're going to get the best Miami Dolphin team, and I think the Kansas City Chiefs will be ready. And also, the best part about it is after your overseas trip, you get a bye week. Your bye week is week 10, right in the middle of the season. I think that is the perfect time to have a bye week. It's not too early, it's not too late, and it gives your team to the right time to get healthy. And also what I love after it is then you have a Monday night football game, the Super Bowl rematch against the Philadelphia Eagles. That game doesn't need any more hype than it already is. It was an exciting Super Bowl, and it's going to be an exciting rematch as well. And also, what I love about it is we know Andy Reid's record after a bye week. And then you're playing the Super Bowl rematch there. That just could not line up any better. Now we're just going to start going off the phone because I try to remember this like game by game by game, and I'm actually kind of impressed. I made it all the way to week 12 before I started cracking under pressure. But now that we are on week 12, the Kansas City Chiefs will go to Vegas and they will take on the Vegas Raiders. And again, we know Raider bouts. I think it's the strongest rivalry in the division. The Raiders, their new look. They have Jimmy Garoppolo under center. They're trying to have a new defense. We'll see how that all meshes and unfolds. But at the end of the day, that's Arrowhead West over there. That's what Patrick Mahomes owns. Never lost a game in Vegas, and that ain't going to change. And hopefully, he has 2 games in Vegas this year. Now, week 13. This was an interesting one as well. And this is one that it can be flexed. It's depending on what the Green Bay Packers do. Week 13, the Kansas City Chiefs go to Lambeau and take on the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football. The reason I don't believe this could be a Sunday Night Football game is because there are huge question marks revolving around what will Jordan Love be next year. But Jordan Love has already had the chance to play the Kansas City Chiefs. It may not look the best, but also the Kansas City Chiefs didn't even look the best either. That was one of the ugliest football games to where the Kansas City Chiefs found a way to win. So hopefully the Kansas City Chiefs play better, and if Love is playing better throughout the year, this can still be a Sunday Night Football game. Now, going to week 14, and actually I kind of don't like this stretch either, and we're going to get more into that. Week 14, the Buffalo Bills come to Kansas City. That's another one. Do we really need to discuss about it? The Buffalo Bills know how to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season, so the Chiefs will try to get over that slump, but the Kansas City Chiefs own the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. So that's a rivalry. We already know what it's all about. It's going to be a fun matchup. Going into December, December football, Buffalo, Kansas City, what more could you ask for? And then the Kansas City Chiefs actually have 2 Monday Night Football games this year. This one, they will be going to Gillette Stadium and taking on the New England Patriots. Now, that will be signed, still delivered. That is staying the same. A lot of people don't believe the Patriots are going to be a good team, but you do not flex out Monday Night Football games, so we will get 2 Monday Night Football games this year, and I still think it'll be fun. Bill Belichick, he always knows how to have a good defense, and we get to see the new weapon for Mac Jones and Juju Smith-Schuster on the other side. I think it'll still be a very fun game. And then now, we get holiday games. The first holiday game to come up, Nickelodeon game, the Oakland. You see, when you watch a division rival so much, you just want to go back to time. The Las Vegas Raiders will be coming to Arrowhead on Christmas Day to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. What more can you ask for? To give the Raiders an L on Christmas Day, it'll be fun. And I don't know why. I'm more excited that we actually get a Nickelodeon game. For some reason last year, I think it was the Rams and Broncos, that Nickelodeon Christmas game, I really loved and enjoyed watching. And I watched it to the full length on Nickelodeon. If it was on a regular CBS, I probably wasn't going to watch that game. So Nickelodeon, they know what they're doing. They do really good broadcasting. And then the game everyone already knows what we anticipate, week 17 against the Cincinnati Bengals. It could be the fight for the number 1 seed. This is why they put it there. Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, probably the best rivalry in sports, which is so odd to say because it's not even a division rival, but it is there. That is ticket worthy. Everyone's going to be dialed in and zoned in. I'm surprised this is not a primetime game. I was surprised it wasn't a week 1 game, but this is one of those games where CBS said, this is our game. We're not losing it. And I completely understand that. And then to wrap up the season, the Kansas City Chiefs will close it against the LA Chargers. Now, this is why I don't like this stretch of the schedule, because if you look at it, you're playing good late November football against the Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals, and Chargers. Those are going to be top seeds fighting for division spots, maybe even the number 1 seed. And yes, I will consider the Chargers there as well because they always have the talent. And one year, they will put it all together. And if they do this year, They're going to be a hard team, and we don't discredit them either. They might be even fighting for the division at that point too. I don't know if Kansas City could have it all signed, sealed, and delivered by then. I would love to say they will, but the Chargers are a very, very good team. Now, that's all the games in totality. That is week 1 through week 18. I do think the Kansas City Chiefs, I think the schedule makers actually did it right. As a Chiefs Kingdom fan, as a Kansas City Chiefs fan, I love the way the schedule played out. I love that one thing I looked for was they have back-to-back away games, but last year they had like 3 in a row. They don't have that this year. They have a lot of home, away, home, away. I like that. It's spread out equally. I love that the bye week is week 10. I love the early portion of the season to where they're competitive games, but games the Kansas City Chiefs should take to where it gets into November and December, you're playing playoff football, and that's when it gets real. I don't know. I really like the schedule. I see some of Chiefs Kingdom's differences on there, but with that, Chiefs Kingdom, jump in the comments down below. Let me know your initial thoughts on the schedule and your initial takeaways, and of course, we always have our way too early predictions. Let me hear them in the comments down below. Let's be realistic. Let's not say 17-0. I want to hear some real predictions. With that, I'm going to sign off, but this isn't going to be the end that we're going to be talking about the schedule. Tomorrow, I will give you my like top 5 games where I think the Kansas City Chiefs may need to watch out for and ones that I will be dialed into, and my takeaways on my favorite things on the schedule. This is definitely not the last time we're talking about the schedule. We're going to be talking about it throughout the weekend. So please be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you did like this video, please leave that big thumbs up. Y'all take care. Peace.